But when I was there, I remember even being caught by my boss severally on the shop floor. Always looking at machines and finding out what's going on. And then when I hear she's coming, I'm running to try and do my work quickly and make things balance.
Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's Monday, where we discuss all things governance. Today I have an amazing guest, but I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, because if I start the introduction, it's been over 25 years.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it's been actually almost about 30 years that we have known each other. So if I start the introduction, it will be too much. So tell us, Flora Mutahi, who is Flora Mutahi?
Actually, Angie, I think it's more than that. We're in school together.
We're in school, actually, no, so it's 40.
It's many.
To 40. It's many years. It's been, we've been neighbors. We went to the UK. We had that also journey there in our early teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
We did also, when you came back, because when I was reading your bio, I was like, I was a witness to all these things. I even remember Kiki designing your Melvin Marsh
the label.
logo. I was there even when you did the thing about the accountant.
Yes.
When you were resigning. I even used to come and pick you up. I think I'd even picked you up the day you came and told me.
Yes, I'm done.
I'm done. Yes. This is it. And I'm like, Flo, what do you mean? And then, of course, because we might not be able to get it in, I was there for the wooden car. You know that car? You don't know our picture.
The hearse.
That car.
Everybody called it the hearse.
It was me. I just knew it was part wood.
Yes.
What kind of car was that? Let's start. Flo, who is Flo? Because if we start, we've known each other for years.
Yes, we have.
Amazing experiences.
All right. Thanks, Angie. Thanks for having me here.
You're very welcome.
I think I'd like to call myself a seasoned entrepreneur.
Okay.
I started off, as you know, when I went through college, I never got a calling. You know, people say, I want to be a banker, an accountant. For me, it never came. It got to a stage I started getting into trouble with a career master. So my father said, listen, you do accounts, you're good in accounts, say you're accountant. So then I started buying the story. So I told him I'm going to be an accountant. So when I got back home from studying, I went to Strathmore, that's what everybody does, and I registered for my accounting, and I began. And so I began my CPAs, I think, at the time, and I was very borderline. I just used to attend enough lessons, just used to pass. Everything was very borderline.
Wow. And
one day I was spotted by James McPhee, the dean at the time, and he said, what's your problem? I've watched you. Who is paying your fees? And I knew this is a trick question. So I kept quiet, and he said, why are you not being truthful to yourself? If you're not committed, what are you doing? And that was my lesson number one. He said, you're creating a habit that will live with you for the rest of your life of mediocre. So I went home. I couldn't sleep that night. Next day, I drafted the letter. I remember telling you. I drafted the letter. I gave it to my boss, who was I was an auditor for 9 months. Now, coincidentally, I was auditing in industrial area. Now, industrial area is a place you have to go there if you're going there. It's not, you're not passing by. So you can imagine even the matatu to go there used to have no windows, no doors. It just used to say hillocks. They
were very raggedy. I don't know why. More raggedy than the rest of them. Yes.
Because you have to go there. But when I was there, I remember even being caught by my boss severally on the shop floor. Always looking at machines and finding out what's going on. And then when I hear she's coming, I'm running to try and do my work quickly and make things balance. So I always had an interest in manufacturing and machines, but it hadn't hit me at this time. So I quit, I get home. I remember that lecture like it was yesterday. It was like 4 hours long. I don't even know how long it was. Yes.
I love it.
Failure.
4 hours long.
Women don't do that. You're supposed to get married. And I'm thinking, I was not brought up in that kind of a home.
This is it.
You remember?
Also, parents, they confused us.
Completely.
They told us to go do things.
And be equal. If one is cooking, the other one is cooking.
The conversation of we're not equal happened.
Exactly.
It happened to me.
Exactly.
And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
What happened? Yeah. So then I go to sleep. I then start saying I want to do business. So I'm told, do you have savings? No. Do you have a plan? No. What are you going to do business in? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking so confused. But I said, but you supported my brother. They're like, listen, I don't know what part of this you're not understanding. So I was completely confused, like you said. Anyway, within about 2-3 weeks, so we started ducking and diving. I would go in when they're asleep. I come back, But about within 2-3 weeks, I came back and told my mom, now I know what I want to do. And I want to do business. And so she bought my story. She's also a seasoned entrepreneur, incidentally.
Yes, she is.
So she bought my story, and slowly we went down and we were having dinner. And the salt was so bad. And I said, why do you have sticky salt? It's supposed to come out. And they're like,
it's supposed to flow.
Yeah, it's supposed to flow. Why don't you have this? And everybody, she just looks at me. We looked at each other. It was like in sync. And I said, why don't I make this my first product?
Wow.
So from
salt
there,
that is flowing.
yes,
I use the
from there,
wow.
I remember we didn't live too far from Kabete campus. I drove up to food science. I met this guy called Professor Karuri. I said, I want to learn how to do this. He said, did you study food science? I said, no. You know, and he said, okay, commit to 3 weeks. First of all, it was hard to get him to understand my story. But he said, commit to coming here every 3 weeks, for 3 weeks every afternoon, and I'll teach you. So he taught me the principle of mixing things and everything. And so then it's about, now I start going looking for money. How do I buy all these things? Back home, they tell me to go away. I'm like, what? Confusion. So I went out and I found a fund. I found a fund for women.
How did you find a fund for women? Maybe it's just
yeah.
Find a fund for women.
You're looking. You know one thing you learn as an entrepreneur, when you're looking for something, you will find it. As long as you open yourself up to just finding.
And the possibilities.
And the possibilities. So I found this fund with Kenya Women Finance Trust, and they said, we'll give you money if you give us half the security. So I came home and I said, please give me half the security. Again, they're like, what part of no don't you understand?
Our parents, they were so hard.
But you see, again,
they helped us. But they were like, when you think about it now, you're like, oh, please.
Confusion.
Just
confusion.
Give me half the security. So you told me to go look for a business. I'm here now. What is the problem?
This is the plan. This is what I want to do. I've done a business plan there because they train you before they give you the money. So anyway, eventually she succumbed and she said,
thank you, Auntie Esther.
But don't tell Daddy yet.
Yes.
So we didn't tell my dad at the time. And so they gave me the money. Of course, it's not enough. So I'm cutting and, this is for the label, this is for the packaging, this is for the machinery. So everybody, I'm telling them, I'll pay you half, I'll come back. I'll pay you half, I'll come back. So the joke I always say is I was the chief of bouncing checks, but I didn't care because it was 150 or 300 bob at the most. So I said, just hold on. So anyway, I had my first product and I went to Chandarana. I met Anil and he said, yeah, put it on the shelf.
That's so amazing.
Just like that. It was so surprising. So I moved from there. Then I went to a hotel and they said, this is fantastic. We need this, in fact, for Mombasa. Give me 100 dozens. I'm like, what?
No, you don't have 100
I don't have 100
capacity to produce.
Yeah. So then I go back and a friend, Kiki's mom, is the one who actually said...
Kiki's mom?
Yes. She said, how much do you need? I said, 36,000.
That's so amazing.
So
Look
she
at
said,
here,
like how long will you take to pay it back? I say, about a week. So I deliver to this hotel and they say, thank you very much. And then the next day I go to pick my money. And they say, it's 90 days. It's 90 days. I'm like, what? Lesson in business number 1. Number 2. So I couldn't believe it. So I go to pick... I decided, no. This I can't afford. I can't afford the reputation. No. So I went there every single day and I was determined to wear them out and tell me to,
Until they pay you.
Till they pay me. So I went every day. So this gentleman started saying, oh, my mom's disturbing me. Why? She wants to start packing tea, So I said, why tea? He said, the monopoly has been lifted. A 19-year monopoly that had been given out has been lifted. The margins are like this. So I said, what do you know about tea? Oh, my friends are in tea. They're in Mombasa. I'm like, really? He's like, yes. So I said, okay. Can I go to Mombasa? Can I learn about this tea? Because now I know I needed a new product. My first product was not working. Salt, a ton of salt was $100. So I knew by the time I have enough on the tables, it's not going to work. So 3 weeks later, I'm in Mombasa. I'm telling the gentlemen, here are my forms I want to be filled in. They're asking me, do you know about tea? I say, no. How? So anyway, they were so jazzed with this child. They said, fine. It was a Monday. They took me to the auction. 3 people, signed me in and said, fine, now you're registered, but make sure you see us in the evening because I think you're lost. So in the evening I went, I think it was Mombasa Club or something, and they met me and they gave me this long lecture. Who do you think you are? How do you go up against a monopoly? What do you understand about tea? I knew nothing. I said, I'll work it out. Somehow I'll make it work. Wow. Next day I came back to Nairobi, but their words never left me. Who do you think you are? So on my way back, I started thinking, and this is a habit I had been brought up with, take the road less traveled. Do not keep taking the road everybody goes on. So I said, what can I do differently? So I'm all thinking, I get to Nairobi, went to the kitchen, started making tea. Where's ginger? There's no ginger. I go back in the car, go to the shop, come back. And when I was mixing it, it hit me.
The tea and the ginger.
Yes. Why don't we have flavored tea in this country? And there came out my second product. So from there, I would really want to say the rest is history. 2 years later, I met another fund that said they were supporting SMEs. So I said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to export my tea. Tea is only not, everybody loves tea. I know the UK, I know Germany, I know. And they said, how many flavors do you have? And I said, 1. And the man laughed me to the ground. And he said, 1? He said, if you want to be on this fund, within a month, I need you to have 4 flavors. There we go. There is my next challenge. I went, I did vanilla, masala, ginger, and then I came out with a plain tea. And I went back, and cinnamon. And I went back to this gentleman and I said, I want to be on this trip. And they took us to London and they showed us how the stores work, purchasing. Then I realized I'm in too deep, you know, because there's listing fee, there's marketing fee. It was a big game. It was huge. And so I said, okay, let me go back, tail between my legs, and come back to Kenya and continue. So I continued in this journey, and this is the journey of my growth I call self-leadership. You know, I was leading self. I had this bee in my bonnet. I have to do stuff. I don't know what else to do. Where you're open to learning, just opportunities, jumping in, borrowing money without even caring, bouncing checks without giving it a thought, because you have to do. And that, I think, is what an entrepreneur is all about. You have a burning desire to do something, and you do it.
You just go after it. I want to stop with it. But okay, but?
No, I was going to go to the next phase now. When you start realizing, I need a team. I need to hire people. I can't be everywhere.
And I can't do everything.
The shop is calling. I need to produce my labels. Now, of course, all my bad behaviors are catching up with me. The suppliers are saying, we'll supply you, but give us more credit. I have no money. I go back home. No. I continue to look for funds. I go to my SACCO. But now I call this the reactionary part of my leadership. Now
and I want us to stop there.
All
so
right.
We continue that next week. The reactionary part.
Yes.
But I love the way you've unpacked the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And the going after and going. And I think there's something about being in our 20s. That must have been your early 20s.
Yes, it was
where
early
we just
20s.
Go, where you are just going. Do not let anything stop you.
Yes.
So I hope you've learned. Join us next Monday where we go into the reactionary phase of this journey for Flora Mutahi. God bless you and bye-bye.